So if I'm on here, wait, let's just go. So if I'm on here, if I look at my interfaces, it's ETH2, I'm on host 2 ETH0, so I should just do like 155 receive and H2 dash ETH0, right? That should bug. And then that should work. I'm just gonna wait for a packet, right? And then if I'm on here, I should say the program name, and I want to send, and it takes. I always forget the order of how I did this. The interface, the address, and the message, right? So the interface is, in this one, it's going to be H1. I just know that. H1 dash ETH0. That's its local interface. And so what's going to be the MAC? What address am I going to put in here? Anyone? What? Somebody said that. Say it louder. Huh? This one, right? I'm going to send to this. This is right here is the MAC address. 6A, 7C. This is the MAC address of this host. Host 2, which is what I want to send it to, right? That's my destination. So I want to say like 6A, colon, 7C, colon, BB, colon, 77, colon, yeah, colon. Right? And I'm going to say like, this is a message, right? And hopefully this works. Then I send it over here, right? And then I can see I like parse the destination address. There's a type and then the message I pulled out of that, right? So I send up, what I did is I created an Ethernet message for a string. I sent it to this host and I received it and I parsed it, right? So that's what you want, that's the goal, just to be able to do that, right? So how would we do that? Maybe? That's a good next question. So we need to specify 3 things. We need to specify like the source and destination, right? The destination is going to be provided, right? We just provided it, right? The source, we have to figure that out. The source. So if we look at what if we're like sending one. We need the specify all 3 of these things, right? So this is provided. This is command line, right? That's like an input or an arg, right? So that is, we don't need to worry about that, right? And what I'm saying is type, this is just a defined variable that specifies like an IP type. It's defined here. So we can just use this, right? And actually, I don't really care. I just gave you one to use. I really don't care what you use for type, to be honest. So what do we need to do now? We need to figure out these other 2. This is also a command line, right? Command arg, right? So what don't we know to send this packet? Huh? R is local. We have to send our source address, right? We have to figure that out. So that's what we gotta do. First things first, though, if we want to send a raw packet, like we want to send a packet, we don't have anything in it. We don't want an IP address, a frame, we don't want a TCP frame. What we can do is we can specify something like this. We just say AF packet rather than INET. INET meant have an IP4 frame in here. We say just packet, we just want to create a packet. We don't want you to do anything. And we specify raw, and then we can say this weird term, this EPR, which basically says we can create a purely raw socket, right? So that's what we should do, right? What are we going to put in that socket? So we got a blank socket. We want to define a packet, right? So the first thing we should do is we should create an Ethernet header, right? And these three things have defined types. Like how big is this?
32? 16?
48.
48.
48. So it's six bytes though, right? 6 bytes. And how big is this? 6. And how big is this? I don't know, I think it's 2 though. Maybe no, I'm pretty sure it's 2. And then how big is this payload? It can vary. It varies, right? So this is like defined, right? So what actually happens is already in Linux there's a struct ether header, right? Which is already defined to include these variables. And so what you can just do is you can just define a struct like this. And actually I realized I specified the wrong, it's defined in the wrong place. It's that, wait, oh. Yeah, it's actually, that's right. So if you go to like, and you can see at the top we have like this ether header struct already defined, right? This has a ether destination, which is 6. This is I think pretty sure this is defined to be 6, right? So it's 6 bytes, and then the source, which is 6 bytes, and then the 16-bit type, right? And so that is a struct. We can just use that, right? So we're just going to reuse that struct for this. Because what we can do, let's say we create like a buffer, right? We have some buffer. You don't see, we have some, let's say some buffer. Right, if we create like this struct, now let's call it like a pointer to EF, right? What we can just do is point this right here, right? And then we can do stuff like EF. I think it was either. Some variable. We can specify. We can use the struct variables, and then we can specify like the bits we want to put in here, right? And they'll all go to the right location, right? Where this is the type. This is the destination. This is the source, right? And so that's a good way to do this. We create a buffer that you want to send, right? You specify. You create one of these structs as a pointer. You point to the beginning of that, and that way you can now specify stuff into the struct, and it will just magically go to the right place into the header, right? And so that's the best way to deal with headers it's not the way, I take that back. That is a way to deal with headers in C. It's not the best, but it's the easiest. And so I'll show you that, and I'll probably show you a better way to do that later. So that's what I said here. You should use this, and then when you receive a new, like if you're on the receiving side, you can again do this, and then point this at your buffer that you received, and then you can start parsing out the data by referencing the items in the struct, right? Again, then you don't have to kind of deal with all this weirdness yourself, right? Any questions? Does that make sense? So now there's like, that's kind of the main difficulty, except we have some funny functions. So we need to get the interface name, right? So how do you do that? Yeah, it's kind of weird. You can, there's this structure called an IFREC, IF request, interface request, right? You can call, so you're gonna define this like IFREC struct. All the code you need to do this is right here, so you don't have to really, I did this all for you. Then you need to specify within the struct there's this IFR name, interface name, and this is the variable you have, right? So if you just do a string copy this variable into this struct and pass it to this IOCTL command with this weird term, basically that means is grab the interface name of this interface, and it's going to put it into this SA underscore data variable, right? And so there, that will give you that'll give you this, right? If you do that, that'll give you this, right? So it's just a weird function call that Linux has to get this source address. So you can run this. It shouldn't be a problem. But sorry, that just gets you that way. Oh wait, sorry, I'm confused. That gives you, that's just to select the, that's so you can specify the interface name, sorry, by the string, right? You also have to do the same, something really similar to get the MAC address. So I was confusing them too. So if you do the same thing, but you call this with a different parameter, the hardware address, that gets you the hardware address, right? So there's two of these weird IOCTL calls that you need to specify the interface and then specify get the MAC address for that. That's confusing, I apologize. I don't know what else to do. The only point is you have to use two of these different structs. So get two of them, two different ones, because recalling this with the same struct wipes out the contents, right? So that's confusing. I specified it there though. These are different IFRs. So that the only thing else that's unusual is, since we're specifying a hardware address and not IP addresses, rather than the stock address underscore, we specified previously stock, or sorry. Remember, this is for IP, right? So what I'm going to tell you to do is a stock LL, which is for, yeah, right? Link layer, right? So when we specify what we want to send to, we use this link layer version rather than the IP version, right? And this, the address is different, and then, you know, we are just going to have to specify the index, which is the one of the things I just told you how to do from that IFREQ struct, and then the hardware, specify that there's an Ethernet address, right? You're going to specify. And then you can just do a send calling this rather than the traditional underscore IN one. And it'll just send the link layer packet, right? So again, these are confusing, but just figure out how to use them and get the data out of them. All the code you need is right there. It should just work. So try those. Once you get those working, you can do the rest of it, and you should just be able to easily write out, receive a packet.